Hey there, what's going on, YouTubers? It's 9th of August, year 2022, Tuesday, Australian Eastern Standard Time. Just not so long ago, I woke up from my nearly 24 hours of hibernation, and just you know, woke up from some nightmares of probably as a result of a series of highly traumatizing events. And as a result, I intend to make this video mainly about venting and ranting. So I don't mind. So I won't mind if you find this video quite boring or not so attuned to your interests. So it's mostly still gonna be shit about life. My thoughts about anti-natalism and and my attitude towards my life. The life I'm currently living. So so it's not gonna it's in fact as a dude who has reached his 30s, I don't suppose there is anything magical about life. So once you get a life, you you just have to own up own up for it, and own up to it, though you didn't ask for it. And that's the sad truth about life. You either every day we get we get questioned by our own selves as to whether to live or to die, get busy living or get busy dying. Since since if you have experienced any sort of trauma, then you would you might have noticed that whether awake or not, hibernating or fully conscious of your and aware of your surroundings, it actually makes no difference. It makes no significant difference, to you. Since you still experience and keep re-experiencing and regurgitating the traumas, in your dreams. Even if you try to, even if even if you stretch your extreme lengths so hard to live a so-called normal life, following a so-called ordinary routine of life, eating such as or characterized by eating normally, trying to eat normally and sleep excuse me, normally, and trying to be a good person. Overall, you avoid oversleeping and or undersleeping, or sleeping, you while still as while assuming you do happen to to live a life that is somewhat similar to mine. That says, yeah, it's you should have noticed that it means actually no significant difference, to either be awake or to remain asleep or to remain hibernating. While still, yes, it's the only difference I can think of might be, yes, you can still, all obviously you still making small amount of impact on the tangible or the physical part of the matrix while you remain awake and sentient. um, you know in contrast, to to the state or to the status in which you are asleep or hibernating. Yeah, and not sure if you got yourself tagged or baked with the mark of the beast analog, if you know what I'm talking about here. If you catch my drift here, if you do, then probably you have more freedom than I, in terms of freedom of movement, freedom of speech, even. Probably yes. You do have more amount of or a larger extent of freedom than I do. Then if you do, yeah, I don't know what else to say to you other than kudos, or or other it's just kudos to you, or either kudos to you or kudos to me. So it's but no, with your current extent or the degree of freedom in hand, also know this, that your freedom comes at a cost. um, you know both in terms of both in terms of the financials, probably in some countries or regions, where you still have to pay some real bucks to get some adequate health care. Then most likely, you did not get your tag for free. And you probably have to go through the endless PCR tests or nucleic acid tests over and over. Even if you've already got yourself tagged or baked with the so-called mark of the beast analog. Yeah, it's just freaking shit. It's as if I'm trapped in a nightmare that I can't stand, that I can barely stand. You know, and have no escape whatsoever. Does so so um, what can you do to to escape a nightmare? Um, the first answer that comes to my mind being you try to be more awake, you try to be more aware of your surroundings, you try to be you try to raise your awareness of of your own problems, of your of what you are capable of doing and what you are not capable of doing, so that you can have a more realistic um, understanding of yourself. Um, so in order to find some realistic solutions to your own problems. Yet there are not all problems in your life has a solution. Either they don't have a solution, or you are just too, or I'm just too stupid to realize that such problem has a solution. You know, I don't know if my current iPad still if I don't know if the current battery you know level of reserves can still hold that long, for for it to accommodate what I feel like saying. But it's let's just say I also begin to realize you know the hypocritical nature of Christianity. The more you get to know, the more you watch videos about how to overcome problems in your lives. The more you realize that there is absolutely nothing magical about life. You reap what you sow. You and then you have to own up to it. You have to take the accountability and both the accountability and the responsibility, for the choices you made in the past and at the present in the present. And usually usually you won't find any redemption for the problems, for the wrong choices, wrong the so-called wrong choices, wrong decisions you made in your in the past. um well, you and usually more often than not, um you excuse me, more often than not, the choices, the decisions you made, that failed to yield yourself um, more benefits to reap, then it yielded more benefits for others to reap, to benefit from. Then usually it is the wrong choice, it is the wrong decision. So it's nowadays, like I said before in my previous videos, it's every man for himself. And you have pretty much nobody to care for you. So why are you still caring about the well-being of others that much? In particular those who have a higher socioeconomic status than you do, why do you have to care about them? Indeed, what's the benefit? What's in there for you? What's in there for me? You know, and some of those some of you who are who claim to care about others, who claim to resonate, to who claim to find my videos resonating within you. Why don't you start examining yourselves first before you judge others? In particular, how as to how others should live their lives. So yeah, most of the so-called Christians you'll find are hypocrites. They are usually they are even more hypocrites than atheists. So be careful with them. Take heed. Take heed in seeking advice, in seeking in seeking consultations and consolations from them, since you'd probably get more more criticisms than reassurance when you go to them and ask for advice, since well, that's more often than not it's a stupid move. It's an act of stupidity, because based on what I know, based on what I experienced so far, both on YouTube and in the physical part of the matrix, you won't get much from nowadays MGTOW. From other MGTOWs, you won't get much. At least when you try to make a video, try to please them, it's you won't get much. That I can promise. Well, unless you are very good looking, unless you are a very good looking female human individual, and you have a way of you happen to have a knack for pleasing men, by making certain types of videos like ear licking ASMR. Yeah, that might, yes, that will may more likely earn yourself more views, more credit, even more money. Yeah, but if you are a male, a male human individual with with below, with an average or even below average level of intelligence, and you don't have an existing level of considerable amount of audience or influence on platforms like YouTube, then people mostly will just either ignore you, or even if I'm saying at in the present, in the present days, at the present time, you won't get much. But yes, it's still good, to keep an to keep an archive of personal reflections for yourself. If you don't have if you don't have many friends, or if you have no friends at all, then it's yes, just to keep yourself sane and and keep yourself an account of what you've been through. Well, and then probably learn from it. Learn from your past mistakes and blah blah blah. Yeah. So back to the topic of dream talks. Yes, the nightmare that I had tonight. Just before I woke up. Yeah, it occurred pretty much. It occurred at not pretty much. It occurred at an exactly identical setting, to where I usually spend my life in. So yes, you can assume that it kind of resembles a lucid dream, um, or a scenario of forced awakening, in which I spent my time with my grandma, try to